GSL. GSL Season 3.
What's up, guys? We're Tastosis, and this is the GSL Code S. We're here in the round of 8 now. I gotta say, this has been probably the best GSL we've had of all time.
Yes.
We've been around for 4 years now, 4 years plus, and this has been the sickest tournament yet.
Can't do better than what we've got right now, and the ridiculously awesome top 8 bracket just speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Okay, 3 Protoss, 3 Zerg, 2 Terran. Some of the absolute best players in the entire world. It's so crazy.
And what's cool about this tournament specifically, when you compare it to our last few, this has a really balanced race distribution. Several of the GSLs prior to this, it was all Protoss.
Yeah, it was like basically Maru, some Protosses, and some Zergs.
Yeah, it was Maru versus the Protosses and a few token Zergs in there.
Yeah.
Not this time around. We have 2 Terrans, 3 Protosses and 4 Zergs, is that right?
Well, that would add up to
that would be 9. So 2 Terrans, 3 Protosses, and 3 Zergs.
There you go.
Excuse me.
You got
that
it.
was close.
Like 5 Protosses, 3 Zergs, and 3 Terrans?
So it's really balanced right now. It started out quite balanced with the race makeup, and so far in the round of 8, it's still balanced, which is really exciting.
That's right.
And each player representing each race is so good.
Yeah, you really do want to see that. Will we have every race go through to the next round? Well, we're definitely going to have a Protoss in there.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that's for certain because there's a PvP. That's the only mirror in this round of 8. But, if I had to
great
guess,
mirror, by the way, for that.
I think the finals is going to be a TVP finals at this point.
Could be. One of our first players we're casting today is Cure. This is a really interesting player, the dark horse of the GSL.
Yeah.
Somebody who's known for getting incredibly highly ranked on ladder, #1.
Yeah, #1 rank.
And
just like Innovation used to be when he was dominant.
That's right.
And I got to tell you what, Cure's play, most impressive Terran play I've seen in a long time.
Looks really good. Different from Innovations as well. He's
Very
definitely
different
got his own style.
Yeah.
We also have Innovation for the Terrans here as well today. Innovation, for a period of time, he looked like the best RTS player of all time.
Yeah, he looked pretty scary. And he is
2 years ago.
Fantastic once again.
Yeah.
Like, of course, he did break up with his team Acer. And now Teamless looking for a Kespa team specifically because he wants to get even better. He wants to actually win GSL.
We have a lot of players that are going from the Korean scene to international teams.
Yeah.
We have a lot of players, I'm talking about Korean players here, who are going, we're on international teams and are going back to Kespa teams.
Doesn't happen nearly as often. It's actually kind of a rare occurrence.
Let's talk about this for a second because one of the reasons why we have these players that were making good money actually on foreign teams coming back to the Kespa teams here in Korea is because the Kespa teams simply put have better training.
They certainly do, and that's why you see that these guys, they are the ones that are dominant. DRG, starting in the round of 32, the only player that wasn't on a Kespa team or joined a Kespa team.
Slaying Flash
the only
to get
one
here.
out of 32 people. And yeah, he slayed Flash. He slayed so many good players. Everyone underestimates this guy, and you shouldn't because, like,
even you and
he's
I
one of the
did,
biggest
actually.
money winners of all time. He's won so many tournaments. He's gotten so deep in, what's this, his 13th GSL Code S in a row or something? It's insane.
It's wild, and it's going to be very interesting to see how his story unfolds here, too, because if he beats Innovation, I don't know who can possibly stop this guy. QRTOS is saying I think Rain could.
Well, I mean, Rain will just smack him down. It'll be gross. It won't even be a finals.
The other players we have here are Stats. I'd say he's a bit overshadowed here by Zest and Rain, but certainly a very scary player. And then we have Sue, who's been in more finals than even sounds possible, that even makes sense. Sue has been
3 in a row. It's nothing like that ever happened before.
Let's take a look at a video of our 2 players and see how they got here to this GSL Code S round of 8. And we should be throwing that up momentarily here. Cure and Solar here, and we'll be going to an interview as well with them.
Yep.
Involving that too.
Who do you think, Cure or Solar? Who takes it?
I think Cure barely.
Yeah.
Barely
I agree
takes
with
it.
You. I agree.
네, 긴장을 많이 하실 것 같아요.
김유진이 강민수 표 앞에 맞췄어요.
이 선수를 기피했는지 정말 경기력으로 잘 보이고 있죠.
참 오랜만에 인사드리는데요. 많은 준비 시간이
it's
있었던
time for the
만큼
interview
오늘
now
경기에 나서는
with our
선수들의
first two
경기력이
players.
무척 기대가 됩니다. 자, 오늘 8강전 첫 경기에 나서는 선수들 만나볼 텐데요.
All right, so we had a
오늘
1-week
나서는
break
두
here
선수,
in Korea,
앞으로 이
which
차세대
sucks. So it's
에이스가
very
되지
exciting to
않을까
have
많은 기대를
GSL
받고
round of
있는
8 back here,
신뢰라는
especially with these two players we
먼저
have here.
이진에어 그린 윈스의 김독 선수 그리고 이 삼성 갤럭시 칸의 강민수 선수 만나보겠습니다.
Let's go ahead and meet here and Solar, and they both say
네.
hello.
두 선수 사이에 있으니까 참 긴장감이 느껴지는데요. 먼저 2연속 진출을 이룬 강민수 선수 소감이 어떠세요?
I feel entranced to be sitting between these two
8강은
great
좀
players
기본으로
tonight.
오는 것 같고 좀
You
더
know,
높은 곳으로
it's
가야
my
될
second round of
때가
being code
아닌가
as.
싶어요.
네.
It's not my first
그런데
time.
사실 이
So I
8강이
feel like I
오히려
definitely
고비가
have to make it
될
further
것
this time
같다
around.
말을 했습니다. 어떤 각오로 이 준비에 임하셨는지 듣고 싶네요.
But Solar, you said that the
김도욱
round of 8 is the
선수가
toughest part of the whole
최근에
tournament.
기세가
How do you prepare for
너무
this?
네.
제가 약간 위축돼 있긴 한데
Yeah,
평소보다
recently Kier played
그래도
really
뭐
amazingly.
딱히 이렇게 8강이랑
I'm a little bit worried about tonight's matches.
그냥 좀 할만할 것 같고 저는 개인적으로 김도욱
You know,
선수가 좀
round of 8, the
실수를
stakes
해줬으면
are
좋겠어요.
high here in the
사실
GSL.
첫 세트에서 이 테란에게
expecting
유리한
him to make a
맵만
mistake
안
this time
나왔으면
around.
좋겠다 말을 했는데 오늘 맵 마음에 드세요?
맵이 그냥
How do you like the
테란
maps
맵이 너무
tonight?
많아가지고 그냥 그래도 좀 무난한 것 같아요. 네.
Well,
그렇군요.
recently there's been a lot
자,
of
이제
maps that are
김도욱
very
선수
strong for
얘기
Terran
들어볼게요.
players.
자, 첫
But
8강전인데
overall,
소감
I'm pretty
어떠세요?
satisfied with the match tonight. So, Kier, it's your first round of 8. How do you feel?
요번에 처음엔 16강 올라와서 좀 생각은 했어요.
When I made the round
8강
of
꼭
16,
올라가야지 생각은 했는데 진짜 이렇게 올라오게 돼서 기쁘고
I decided to do my best to
준비도
make it to
많이
the round of 8.
했어요.
강민수 선수가
And to make the round
예상을
of eight,
했는데 아마
I really
처음이라서
practiced a
굉장히
lot.
떨려가지고 알아서 져줄 것 같다 말을 했거든요. 어떻게 생각하세요?
Solar said, Kier,
강민수
since it's your
선수랑
first round of 8, you
매드에서
must be
많이
nervous.
해봤었는데
네.
기본기는 좋은 선수인 것 같은데
네.
딱히 무섭지는 않고 그냥 할만할
Yeah, I
것
met Solar in
같아요.
the ladder a
오늘은
lot of
별로
times,
기대 안
and I think
되세요?
he's good with the basics of StarCraft.
16강도 해보고 해서 그때만큼
But I'm not really nervous to have a match
네.
against Solar.
테란만
Let's
만나기
talk about how
싫다고
these two guys
했는데
hold mic
적으로서 굉장히
cirrhosis.
기쁘셨어요? 어떠셨어요?
그때 태태전 할 때는
I feel less
연습을
nervous than
엄청
when I
많이
went to the
했거든요.
round of 16.
불안해가지고 근데 오늘은 저그전이라서
별로 안 했어요?
그냥 기본기 위주로 하려고 했어요.
강민수 선수
I'm not really worried about
기본기만
having a match
준비하고
against
오셨대요.
Zerg.
어떠세요?
저거 다 연막 작전 가고요. 일단
What do you think about his
무조건
comments, Solar?
기본기 위주의 싸움은 잘 안 나올 것 같아요.
그렇군요. 제가 알기로는 해외 대회 일정이 함께 있었던
You know,
걸로
it's more
알고
than just basic
있는데
skills.
안 나간 걸로 또 들었습니다. 그 이유 좀 들어볼 수 있을까요?
일단 제 일정이 만약에 귀국하게 되면 어제 귀국하는 거라서 너무 힘들 것 같아가지고
네.
좀
You didn't
GSL에
attend
더
any foreign tournaments. What was the reason behind that, Solar? You know, I just want to focus on the GSL.
GSL의 선택과 집중을 선택을 하셨는데요. 자, 두 분이
Basically, if I attend foreign
차세대
tournaments,
에이스로
it's going to be
주목을
tougher
받고
for me to
있습니다.
practice
서로
and
어느
get ready for
정도
this
의식도
tournament.
하고 계실 것 같은데 상대에 대한 그런 평가를 좀 들어볼까요? 먼저 김독 선수 어떻게 생각하세요?
So,
NC에서
honestly,
굉장히
what's your take on
잘한다고 소문이
Kier?
많이 나 있는 선수라서 좀 약간 무섭기도 한데 그래도 저만
Among the
잘하면
pro
충분히
players,
이길 수 있을
he's
것
got
같아요.
a very good
세계대회
reputation,
제목이라고 생각하세요?
and everybody says he has a lot of potential.
만약에 이번에 저한테 저도 다음 시즌에 더 잘할 수 있을 것 같아요.
그렇군요. 자, 김독 선수는
I think if he loses
어떻게
against me
평가하실지
tonight,
궁금하네요.
They'll be doing better next
강민수
season.
선수가
Kier, your
기본기는
thoughts?
좋은데 좀 까다롭게 하면 대처를 잘 못하시는 것
I think he's got
같더라고요.
great
그래서
skills.
오늘 준비 많이 했으니까 이길 수 있을 것 같아요.
서로 이길 수 있다 자신감을 드러내고
But you know, when he has a
있습니다.
little bit of
그렇다면 오늘
obscure
경기
strategies,
시작하기
a little bit
전에
offensive strategies,
두 선수 간의
it can be
애정을
easy to
듬뿍
counter.
담아서 한마디씩 하도록 할까요? 먼저 경험이 훨씬 많은 우리 강민수
Any final
선수가
thoughts before we
먼저
start the match?
해주시죠.
Solar.
도경이 이제 오늘 저도 다른 대회가 많거든요. 그래가지고 이번만큼 저한테 양보 좀 해줬으면 좋겠습니다.
Here, even if you
왜
lose your
이렇게
matches today,
자꾸 김독
we've got
선수들이
plenty
다들
of other
양보하러
tournaments to get ahead.
가나요? 각오 들어볼까요?
저는 강민수 선수가
And Kier, your
16강에서
thoughts?
유진이 형 도발하면서 올라오셨는데 오히려 유진 형이
Yeah, I
저한테
know
4강 갈
Solar,
기회를 주셨다고 생각하고
네.
오늘
advocates
팀원으로서
SOS.
복수하면서 올라가도록 하겠습니다.
갑자기
was hoping that
궁금하게
SOS could get further,
들었는데
so his team could get
김유진
further.
선수가 혹시 복수해줘 이런 이야기 있었나요?
So he's going to get revenge. He's going to get revenge for
그런
SOS,
말은
basically.
안
Excuse me.
그렇군요. 자, 이렇게 오늘 경기에 나서는
So
두
did SOS ask you to get
선수분들의
revenge for him?
다짐까지 들어봤는데요. 자, 오늘 경기
And he said, "No, SOS is
신예들의
not that kind of guy.
맞대결입니다.
He's gonna get
오늘 경기
revenge
시작하기
anyways."
전에 이 두 선수의 데이터 확인해 보겠습니다.
Okay, so a little bit more info here on our two players, Kira and Solar. You can see it right here on your screen.
That's right. You can see who they've beaten so far to get here. This little interview there. It's funny that Kira just kept saying he's good in basic skills. For Solar, that is.
That was weird, actually, to hear that being said to Solar, by the way.
The thing is,
Solar's got a pretty crazy play style. So
It makes sense to a certain degree, I would say, because Solar's known for practicing so much. And the repetition is going to make your basic skills your strongest suit, you know? Just like playing endless games, you're going to get so good at the macro and the micro of the game. So, you know, I think that was actually more of a compliment than how Solar took it, to be perfectly honest.
yeah, well, I think that, you know, adrenaline's going with these two players. And obviously, it's really important to move past the round of 8 and get to the round of 4. I mean, these guys are now so close. How often do players ever get to the round of 8? We've casted so many. Not a lot, Artosis.
Yeah.
And the round of 4, obviously, even less. So,
well, the round of 8, it's like, the thing is, not that many different people make it there, because they're like Zest, Rain, SOS, like, are
Innovation,
always there.
yeah.
DRG probably has like 10 round of 8s by now. Like, it's kind of crazy when you think about it. A lot of these guys just keep repeating in it. So,
Now, for
this is
those-
an elite club.
for those of you guys who are unfamiliar with Kira, this guy actually has a very good chance of winning the entire tournament.
Yeah, believe it or
Solar
not.
out of everybody in the entire bracket here, I feel like is the most overshadowed.
Yes.
He's probably the quickest that you'd forget here in the round of 8, but he's very
Right
good,
now
very
for
tough.
Solar, there's basically an eclipse going on. All right, he's he's the last person you think of when you think of this round of 8 a lot of the time, and that's kind of weird because it's his second round of 8 in a row. He did so well at Shenzhen. I mean, this guy is a fantastic Zerg. He's been one of our top Protoss killers for a very long time in StarCraft II. But he's got to show it today in ZBT, and I do like what he said. He thinks because it's Kira's first deep run, his first time in Code S even, and it's the round of 8 now, he's counting on Kira making some mistakes. And I think Solar's actually right there. I think Kira, if he's going to lose this, it's going to be via him making some mistakes due to nerves.
Experience is everything, and this is a completely different beast when you get in that booth. Here's our map lineup.
Oh, wow.
It is going to be Overgrowth, Nimbus, Merry-Go-Round,
Dude, this is-
Sejong Station, and then Deadwing.
This is a Kira win, I think. Look at Nimbus and Merry-Go-Round as maps 2 and 3. I think he can't be too much happier than that.
I'd say, especially with Kira's playstyle, Merry-Go-Round is going to be pretty strong for him.
Yeah,
I mean, he just has to play a solid game, and I think Zerg runs out of options right in a little bit past the mid-game.
Yeah, taking your 4th base on both those maps
That's
is
hell.
ridiculously hard in ZBT. So, you know, that's going to be a problem for Solar. He may want to mix in some cheeses early on in the series, but if he can't take one of these first 3 maps, which are all maps Zergs love against Terran, that's a 3-0 right there, right?
A closer look here at Cure. Remember, this guy is very well known for being the best ladderer right now. He is a beast. Been #1 on the Korean server.
Yeah.
Off and on. Obviously, it changed day to day, but he's been there several times. And laddering is a great way to practice, but the question is, will laddering, even being #1 GM, help you in a best of 5 in a bracketed tournament? That's a different beast. I mean, when you ladder, you have much more experience against a wide array of strategies. You're against a faceless opponent that you don't know, and you're usually good at taking all possibilities into account. When you're against a specific opponent in a best of 5 like Solar's going to be changing his play style, mixing it up, taking reads off how you responded the first few games. How often do you have rematches in ladder games? Really not often.
Not that often.
Pretty much
What are you
almost.
talking about? I play against Barcode every game.
You've been playing against the same guy for years. But
We're sick rivals, he and I.
we're
50-50 exactly.
you got to think Solar's somebody who's got more tournament experience, more experience adapting and transitioning play styles as best of 3 moves forward, or best of 5 in this case moves forward. Solar might, even if he has a weak start out stronger later on here. Although it'd be tough on the map Merry-Go-Round specifically, but it could occur.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what he brings to the table, because I really think with Cure, he needs to do what he's practiced. And the thing is, we haven't actually seen any of his TVZ really in this tournament so far. Mostly we've seen him slapping down Protosses and whatnot, but
that's true.
And Terran as well. But yeah, I mean, Solar, I think, has to bring something a little bit special. Like Overgrowth, this is not a bad map against Terran, but the two after this are tough. So if he can get past that, he can win this series. But he's got to pick up one of these maps, and I think this is his best chance.
Yeah, I think Solar really needs to win on map number 1 here.
Yeah, I think he needs to be careful and look out for proxies.
Yeah,
because that's a good way to open a series if you have nerves. You're not going to mess up a proxy very easily.
No, and it's a good way to get your opponent's heart rate up as well.
Yeah, and you can calm down because the game's over, and you're like, okay, you know, I can go on to this next game. So let's see what he's going to do.
We're going now into game number 1 here against Solar in the GSL Codex. In the upper right, number 1 on the ladder, Grandmaster.
Gene Green Wings Cure.
Deep fried Mutalisk? What?
And his opponent over here in the bottom left.
Samsung Galaxy Khan Solar.
There he is. Becoming a familiar face, but still, he is one of these overshadowed guys. And
yeah.
You know what he is? He's the Zerg equivalent of Byung.
That's actually
where it's
a
like,
great
well,
way to
you're
put
one
it.
of the best for sure, but we don't ever talk or think about you collectively, you know, in the community, unfortunately. But, you know, I think that's something that changes with time. And
well, I mean, the other Zergs here are so noticeable. I mean, we have people like Sue in the round of 8.
Yeah.
Sue's so well known at this point in time. DRG, I mean, that guy is, at this point in time for StarCraft II, he's actually old school.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's like synonymous with StarCraft II.
Yeah.
It's DRG, man. Like, you just expect him basically to be all over the place and winning stuff and finishing deep everywhere. And, well, that's what he does. It's his job, in fact. He saw an ad for it in the paper, and he's like, I think I can probably just finish
He got a headhunter to look that up, and they're like, we need you to kill all the Zergs and Terrans and Protosses in this game. And he's like,
what game is it?
Yeah.
It's like StarCraft. He's like,
Star Trek.
Is that Minecraft? He's like, no, it's StarCraft. He's like, yeah, okay, I'll try it.
I'll try it out, you know. Got the acumen for the job.
Well, hey, it looks like just a Reaper opener, so you know how this early game goes, Tasteless. We're going to have to sit and wait for a little bit.
Yeah, this is one of the more passive openings here.
I wonder if he's going to make a second Reaper or not.
One of the reasons why Zergs are okay on this map is the third base is pretty easy to acquire. And the fourth base, which can be taken at the bottom right or up a little bit if he wants, up a little bit north to the main if you're in these spots, is an option as well. A lot of times, the point of contention in this matchup, especially when both players open like this, does come down to when the Zerg wants to get the fourth base. So I think this is definitely a map that Solar can do very well, and I'm curious to see if Cure is going to do anything special or out of the ordinary. He may just go for a very standard build, a very solid TVZ play here.
You know, I think that's what he is going to end up doing, to be honest. To open with Reaper on this map, it looks like he's just kind of being himself, playing like a normal build he would use on the ladder.
Yeah.
And, you know, but the thing is, like, for instance, I would say he's really lucky to not be against DRG. Because I think, actually, DRG would be a better matchup to kill him than Solar is. Because, like, we saw DRG when he played against Flash. He's like, well, you're a little bit robotic. I can predict you a little bit. And then he just, like, beat him with mind games and build orders and stuff. And I think that he could do that here. Like, I'm already kind of noticing, for instance, he sends the first Reaper out immediately. You know, an early pool against his command center on the low ground could cause a cancel and win the game. You know, and we've seen things like that from, for instance, DRG.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. With DRG, I mean, that's when you're looking at somebody who's had so much experience.
Yeah.
Cure is inexperienced in tournaments like this. That's why it's kind of fun to see. You know, how far will he go? Will he win the whole thing? Will he, you know, choke under pressure and lose?
Yeah, and that's, you know, so much we're going to actually learn about Cure, because there's a lot of players, guys, that you never really get to hear about unless you're really deep in the StarCraft Korean scene that are actually as good or better than some of these other top guys, and they actually just become kind of practice partners because they can't do it under the big pressure.
Yeah, there's a whole slew of players
that
are on the ladder, that are in team houses that play very well, but when they get to the tournament setting, they choke, they lose. And you get somebody like Kira, the guy who's #1 Korean Grandmaster. My God.
Yeah.
You have to say, well, this guy, I mean, Jesus, man, #1 Korean GR, that's GM, excuse me. It's basically as good as you can get in anything that's ranked with online play. So he should be able to do very well. I mean, the rest of these guys are also laddering. I guess there are some teams that probably just do more in-house practice, but the sheer number of players in ladder, you got to think he certainly has a good chance. But we haven't seen any results from him yet.
Not yet.
We're still waiting.
But you always have to have your first, Staceless. So
yep, it's got to start somewhere.
Yeah, I believe. I think that this guy is not going to be a flash in the pan.
Speaking of that, we're seeing Kira use a build that we saw Flash use against DRG.
Really strong.
Yeah, and this is one where he has the option to either harass into the main base or expansion or push in the front. It looks like now we're going to see him push in the front here.
Yeah, Baneling Nest is on the way. We are going to have Hellbats here relatively soon. The armory's about halfway done. More Hellions actually on the way as well. And he is going to start pressing against these Queens.
Okay, he's getting actually a good angle here on these Lings right now. The Hellions taking some of that damage and also really shutting down those Lings. Now he's going to go over here to the third base, and we have 2 Banelings on the way. I don't know where they are exactly, but we have Hellions reinforcing. You know, Solar might actually be in a lot of trouble here, Artosis. This is a pretty scary army right here.
It certainly is, and now it's about twice as scary. Tastes a lot of Hellbats in here. Yeah, he has some Banelings bringing more up, but this is really scary to try to deal with.
Yeah, the Banelings are coming up now, Baneling, I should say, and the Hellbats still remain.
Well, it looks like he's going to... Oh, my God, he's just not losing Hellbats. Looks like he will finally end up losing some. Some good connections there from those Banelings. Oh, man, but the slowness of these Queens off the creep.
You can just... Well, once they get on the creep, you can actually out-micro Hellbats.
Yeah.
One of the funny facts about StarCraft II. So he does get pushed back. There is a Banshee follow-up, though.
Yeah, and he's damaged the Queens quite a bit, so we'll see if he tries to pick some of those off.
Oh, nice surround here. And that was so important back there that the Queen took out the medevac so that the retreating army couldn't get away.
Yeah.
Let's see if he can do any more damage with this Banshee, but right now I got to say Solar's looking pretty good. There's a drone lead, albeit slight. Looks like he just made a few more structures like a Roach Warren, but let's see if the Banshee can start to balance this out. I think the Spore Crawler is going to be done right when this Banshee gets in there.
Yeah, but it can still do some damage. You know, pick off drones on the edge of the base, especially with Cloak. You know, it's going to be hard to mine gas, and with some good micro, you can definitely pick up a few kills. Does get a couple drones here, not as good as he would hope quite yet, but he has a second Banshee, and the harassment definitely is not done.
1-1 being upgraded right now for Solar. That's with melee attack. And 9 more drones being pumped out. We also have the 1-1 here for Terran, for Kier coming up now. So that's going to be pretty synced up.
Well, you know, looks like, I would say overall Solar did end up holding that well, because that's a very scary push, and that can be hard to hold when you don't have any roaches whatsoever. But he did a good job, had to spend a lot of Lings on it, but he has his third base up. He didn't lose drones, and those are 2 of the most important pieces.
You notice that Solar's predicted all the Banshee movements perfectly?
Are you saying he's a map hacker?
Yeah, confirmed map hacker.
Yeah, he's done a very good job. If you look at the mini-map, he's got a good spread of overlords.
Yeah, you can even see his Queens moving back and forth and the Overseers moving back and forth. He's burnt out that Banshee on energy. And I know that the other Banshee, we didn't have a shot of it, but it took a bunch of damage when it was trying to go in between the third and the second.
You think we're going to see maybe an all-in here? Because he has Baneling speed on the way, 1-1, and Roach speed. No Spire yet. And when you haven't even started a Spire, this really makes me think he's going for...
Here's why I think you might be right, Artosis, is that he took out all those Hellbats.
Yeah.
A lot of times we see Hellions harassed and then go back. There's not a lot that's going to be as effective against Ling Baneling.
Yeah.
He can actually barrel through there. He took out the Marines that were in that attack. He was up on drones after that battle happened. So, yeah, I think you might be right. And I think here's the indicator that we are going to have that. There's 14 Roaches now being made, 16 now, and he's following this up with a bunch of Lings. So he's going to try to battering ram his way through the second base up into the main and end this. And all those Lings need to get out of there!
Yeah, look at this. He's actually just playing as if it's a macro game, trying to like stall this out a little bit. Will stall it out a little bit, in fact, but look at that. That is 26 Banelings on the way.
Damn. Now, do you still think he goes into the second here, or does he want to try to hit the third? I still think the second's probably the way to go.
I think if he can hit an army, that's great, but I think you're right. I think he goes into the natural. That's the easiest place to get someone up against the wall.
Yeah, not a lot of movement not a lot of wiggle room in there.
He
sees, but I mean, he's going to see now anyways.
Those Widow Mines
my
not
God, they
burrowed.
need to burrow now.
Oh my God, indeed. Look at this. And some do burrow. Oh!
How many did that kill? Was
that
like
was
8?
a huge Widow
Oh
Mine.
my God. More Banelings coming in now, wiping out these SCVs. We have a Banshee coming up here. The high ground is being held, but whatever. He can go over here to the third base.
Well, he's going to kill even more SCVs here, Tasteless, and Cure is in so much trouble at the moment.
Nice pickup there by Cure. He's going to back out now.
Well, it's 37 SCVs to 69 drones, and the thing is, before before he moved out, he made a 4th base. So, you know, that's like his backup there. He's like, okay, if this doesn't kill you, I just need to do some damage so that I can back up, be defensive on my creep, have that 4th base, and a huge economic advantage.
You like that forever high school giggle I did for the supply number?
You should giggle more like Beavis, though, I think.
I think at this point in time, we can say that Cure is in a almost impossible to recover from spot. He has to take back the second and the third. He's so low on army. I mean, he has medevacs to pick up.
It's really tough.
That attack by Solar wasn't too well coordinated.
Yeah, I think he's just kind of poking. Because the thing is, like, this army is pretty quick. It's pretty mobile. It's not like he's going to get completely caught off guard and lose it. So he can kind of walk around, see if he can pick things off, keep Cure on the back foot, keep Cure defensive, because that gives him more time to get more units out.
We got Cure coming down now. Looks like he's going to back up, though. He's just trying to push back some of the Zerg spotters here. This is one thing going for Cure. He's got that Banshee over there. And he's going to see that there were, I think, about 8 mutas have hatched now.
Yeah, he's getting a decent mutilus count at the moment, and he is getting his 2-2 as well. So
I really don't like that army out there.
This army here, yeah,
I
mean,
don't think this is a good idea.
He can't possibly go on creep, and in fact, that army is just too strong. This will kill his army.
No way. He's even burrowing with the Widow Mines, but
still. There was never really much of a chance for him to do too much here. The thing is, there's like no right answer here. You know?
No, I mean, you're just so behind.
It's like when you're falling off a 20-story building, there isn't
you don't try to turn your body and land on your feet there.
Yeah,
you know?
it does. It's
not
going to
I
make
think
much
the best
of a
way to do it
difference.
is actually to turn so it's on your head so you die immediately. That might be the best way to do it.
Which would, in this case, just be saying GG and leaving. But in this case, Gravity is played by a Zerg player, so he's just trying to fight back, but you know, really, Solar has gotten just too much of a lead here.
Well, I think we have to have a tap out here. There's no way that he can recover. The Ro8 is coming in here. This is going to be a 1-0 lead, it looks like, unless a miracle occurs here.
No, it's a 1-0 lead.
Solar's,
he's up by 100
Solar's
supply.
booth explodes or something.
I think that the rep would still give him the game. Pretty sure. I think that Kier wouldn't even argue. He'd be like, oh, no, I couldn't have beaten all this.
GG. All right. Okay, nicely done. Solar with a 1-0 lead. Very convincing. A lot of that victory involved the fact that Solar shut down the initial attack, completely wiping out the attacking units for Solar, and then the counterattack was just going to be too strong. He chased the army up into the main, wiped out the SCVs down there, then took out a good number of SCVs at the third, and after all that, Solar takes the 4th base. This becomes a game of math.
Yeah.
You know.
Less a game of StarCraft, more a game of math, Tasteless. Well,
this is like China's army versus Belgium or something. I mean, this is just a loss there. It's too late.
Belgians are a tough people, Tasteless.
They are, and so is Cure's army. But, I mean, just one army just way bigger than the other one.
Yeah.
So, I got to say, Cure probably very discouraged by that match.
He definitely looks it, doesn't he?
Welcome to the studio, guys.
Look at that Take TV hoodie. Badass.
It's really good to see all these people coming down here to the studio. I think we're probably going to have even more on Friday. I think that's a bit more of the hype day.
Oh, with like Zest and Rain.
Yeah, Sue.
Yeah, Sue.
Stats.
That's going to be a sick day, no doubt. But today, pretty awesome as well. Like this first match compared to the second one, not as good, I would say.
Welcome to the studio, guys.
Thanks for coming down.
For those of you watching at home, entry to the studio is $200. Leave it on our casting desk. And
that guy is actually from, I believe he said Belgium, and it's his brother's birthday. So happy birthday,
Happy
brother,
birthday.
that guy in the audience.
Happy birthday to you, sir.
Happy birthday, guy in the chat. All right, so map number 2, Taste, is going to be Nimbus.
Yeah, Nimbus it is.
Now, this is a good map for Cure. It's really hard for Zerg to take a 4th base here.
Yeah, you know what, to be frank, I could see Cure winning this game and the next one, just based off the maps.
But Solar won there kind of through his strategy. Like, he chose a strat, he blocked all the attacks of Cure, and then he just kind of walked in, and Cure wasn't quite ready for it. So Cure has to watch out for things like that. That might be the way that Solar's decided he's going to do this. He has a lot more experience in big, important money TV matches, so he's using that very effectively here with his strategy choices.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much pressure when you're on stage trying to play in front of this many people. And you got to keep in mind, it's just something Cure. It's tough for him. He's not used to it. He's got to pull it back together here. Solar, though, on the other hand, very experienced with this.